Welcome, I'm Riz and this is Veteran Gamers. There isn't lots of good games in survival horror genre, and it doesn't get as much coverage as it should. That's too bad since there are some gems worth playing, real gems. If you wonder what these games are, we present you best survival horror games you should play. Soma is a survival game from the makers of Amnesia: The Dark Descent. Main protagonist has survived car crash, but sustained brain injuries. He has nightmares and headaches when watching television. He goes to check up in hopes of recovery, and game begins with a brain scan meeting. Something goes wrong and you woke up in unfamiliar futuristic surroundings. Soon you realize that you are in underwater complex of some kind. Soma is a little bit different than other games of this genre. Answers to questions you seek are given to you often. However, with those answers come new questions. This is what propels you to go forward, as there is always a new mystery around the corner. Audio and visual design of the game is top notch. Enemies won't be a problem for seasoned players, since there is usually gimmick to easily avoid them. For example, one type of enemy won't attack unless you look at them. Other is blind but has a good hearing. Soma looks and sounds great. However, atmosphere and story is at the forefront here, and everything else is just a bonus. Story is phenomenal, and great acting and characterization only adds to the experience. First scary thing to me was when I was realized that robots and AI you encounter through the game think that they are human and behave that way. You will think about the game long after you finished it. There is a reason its current Steam rating is overwhelmingly positive. Prey is a survival horror first-person shooter with RPG elements. It is set in an alternative time where US President J.F. Kennedy survived the assassination and the US and USSR worked together on a space station called Cage. The cage would serve as a prison for alien beings called Typhon. After several changes of ownership, TronStar purchased the station in 2030, now called Talos 1. It is used for neuroscientific research in which neuromods were invented, a kind of augmentation for humans through enhancement of brain functions, enabling superhuman as well as Typhon abilities. Prey start with a cliché: you woke up and don't remember anything. You choose character gender and are recruited by your brother for a job on Talos Station. As it always happens, aliens got free and wreak chaos on Talos Station, and it is your job to figure out what the hell has happened. Prey is a mix of action and mystery. Some of the mysteries from the beginning of the game can only be solved towards the end, and only if you paid attention. Enemies are interesting because of their roles. For example, some can mimic objects in the surroundings. Others control surviving crew and will blow their heads if they see you. So if you care about human lives, you can't just go in with guns blazing. It has been 2 decades since original Resident Evil was released, game which defined survival horror genre. Years later, Capcom has made a controversial decision to publish remake of original game only on Nintendo GameCube. Most gamers were not happy since most popular game console of that time was PlayStation 2. In Resident Evil HD Remaster, Capcom has finally come to their senses and now everyone can enjoy this game. Remaster HD brings several key improvements over the GameCube version. Of course, first and foremost is HD graphics. The character models don't look much better and detailed than before, but simply sharp enough for today's HD screens. Camera is still fixed and that can be confusing to some players, but also adds to the immersion of the game as you don't know what is waiting around the corner. The story of the game follows the adventures of members of the Tactical Squad STARS from the Recon City Police Department, whose Alpha team is tasked with investigating the disappearance of Bravo team members who investigated the mysterious killings. Arriving at the crash site where the Bravo team helicopter crashes, Alpha members are attacked and flee to a nearby villa or a mansion. And that's where survival horror begins. This is all known from the PlayStation original, but the remake has added new story segments as well as interesting subplot. There is a new kind of enemy which is more dangerous than even famous hunters. Alone, far away from civilization, you find yourself in an abandoned spaceship. Silence and darkness is all around you as you try to survive. If this sounds familiar, then you probably have played Dead Space 1 and 2. Unlike the somewhat monotonous and claustrophobic corridors of the previous two parts, Dead Space 3 abounds in diversity of environment. The story, as most of us are already known, is set 500 years into the future. It begins with an exploration ship suddenly sending a signal for a help. Another ship, coming to investigate the case, discovers that the entire crew has been killed and soon attacked by undefined mutants. Among the three survivors is the protagonist, the engineer Isaac Clarke, who on a mission to save his own life, wandering on an abandoned ship, gradually discovers what actually happened. Researchers have found a special type of relic called the marker, which is the main culprit for the general slaughter and spread of special type of genetic virus that revives humans' bodies and turns them into necromorphs, kind of zombies. In Dead Space 3, Isaac now travels to the icy planet believed to be origin of the marker artifact, with the intention of destroying once and for all the root of the evil that threatens humanity. Dead Space 3 introduces a co-op mode for the first time in the series, as well as more advanced system of weapons and armor upgrades which were introduced in previous games. This upgrade system is one of the charms of Dead Space series, as it's not seen frequently in survival horror games. You will only be disappointed in Dead Space 3 if you like slow-paced games, because here emphasis is more on action. Otherwise, there is a lot to like here. 15 years after the events of the original Alien, Amanda Ripley, the daughter of one and only Ellen, is contracted by Weyland-Yutani Corporation and offered a unique opportunity to find out what happened to her mother. Namely, the mining crew somehow managed to reach black boxes from Nostrum, which were then taken to Sevastopol space station. As expected, Amanda wants to find out what happened to her mother, while Weyland-Yutani wants to retrieve information about their long-lost ship at all costs. Story of alien isolation is great. There is everything which a fan can expect: suspicious motivation, interesting twists, memorable characters, and good dialogue. Main antagonist of the game is single alien, more dangerous and scary than any of other we have seen. You can't kill the monster, your mission is to survive. Androids you encounter are also not a friendly bunch, because they like to break your arms and smash your head if given the chance. Humans are also unpredictable, as they can be friendly or try to kill you. You can also use them as bait when alien shows up. Game can't be saved anytime, which adds to the challenge. You can lower the difficulty anytime, but then you will have to wonder what happened to your balls. Deadly infection turns people into monstrous killers. Most of human population is either dead or infected. Most of the cities are overrun by nature. Small numbers of survivors live in quarantine zones. Joel, main character, gets a mission to escort a teenage girl named Ellie across the post-apocalyptic United States. Main protagonist is closed-off individual who takes lives without remorse. That's what helped him survive for 20 years. Ellie is born after the apocalypse started and doesn't remember the time that Tress so fondly remembers. Naughty Dog created a very interesting and tense story which will keep you on the edge of your seat. They even dared to touch some darker subjects which we don't usually see in the games. The Last of Us is played from a third-person perspective. You can shoot at everything that moves or use stealth to avoid enemies. However, bullets are no common in this brutal apocalyptic world, so Rambo approach is not always going to be an option. There is two types of enemies, infected and humans. Infected are either fast or slow, but deadly if they touch you. Humans will use more tactics such as going behind your back, using bombs and similar. Last of Us was one of the most graphically advanced games when it was released on PlayStation 3. Time has done its thing, but it still looks great. Remastered version was released for PlayStation 4 with slightly improved graphics and support for higher resolution and frame rate. There is also multiplayer mode where up to 8 players can choose sides and battle it out, but main draw of this game is single player experience. I hope you enjoyed our video. What survival horror games do you like the most? Which ones are you looking forward in 2020 or beyond? Share your thoughts in comments, and if you liked our video, share and subscribe. Until next time.